Hey everybody, Chad from VERICO here. Hope everybody's doing well. We're a couple minutes past 10:30 Pacific where I am, 1:30 in Toronto time, so we're going to get underway. First and foremost, I just want to thank everybody for taking the time and joining today's webinar. We've had a fantastic response to this webinar series that we're going to be hosting over the next 3 weeks. So thank you for taking the time to join me today. So as I mentioned, we're going to be doing a three-part series here over the next 3 weeks. So today's focus is kind of maximizing client and referral relationships, and we'll go into a little bit deeper into that as we progress here over the next 3 weeks. So next Tuesday, March 8th, we're going to have the 3 phases of your customer. So I hope to see you back for that. And then March 15th, we're going to be defining your top business partners, which is obviously a crucial aspect to what we do in our business. So my goal here over the next 3 weeks is to give you guys some short focused webinars that are to the point, give you some ideas that you can implement right away, rather than kind of overwhelming you with various different thought processes and kind of looking here and there. Give you some kind of focused to the point things that you can implement right away. Today's webinar is also going to come with a PDF exercise sheet, which you can download. If you look to the right-hand side of your screen, you're going to see a sheet there called Business Value Optimization Sheet. So with the Business Value Optimization Sheet, we're going to have a takeaway, and it's going to make a little more sense as we go through the process today. So for now, I'm just going to turn the camera off, and we're going to get started with today's webinar. So first things first, I have to mention it. I know you've seen our emails coming in regarding the California Classic, which is our retreat this year. We're very excited to be hosting it at the JW Marriott in Palm Desert. So we've taken a detour from Las Vegas where it typically is. So we're very excited to be going to the beautiful JW Marriott Hotel. If you haven't registered for this, or if you're looking for more information, you can go to www.vericoevents.com. Now, I know you guys have seen that we were running a rate special, a $99 special. So that has ended, but as a kind of thank you for joining me today, what I have done is I've talked to the powers that be at head office here, and I've extended the $99 special till 2 p.m. today Pacific time, 5 p.m. Toronto time. So that's for anyone who's on this call. If you register for the conference before 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, and use the promo code the VERICO Advantage, you can still take advantage of that $99 registration special. Now, if you are going to be taking advantage of that, please make sure that you also remember to book a room. We do have a special reserved roommate rate, for that matter, that I definitely want to see you be able to take advantage of. So if you are going to be using that $99 special, which I've given you guys for today, which is the promo code is the VERICO Advantage, please also do remember to take a room. So I hope to see you there. The dates are September 30th to October 2nd, and I hope to see you all in Palm Desert. So let's get started with our webinar. And the first thing we're going to discuss today, and our first focus for the day, is increasing the number of customers. And that's something that, throughout my travels, whenever I'm speaking with brokers, throughout Western Canada, everybody's always looking to increase their number of customers. And obviously, the most obvious way to increase your customer base is to gain more customers through various different strategies. And as you can see, we've listed a number of different ones here. There's realtor prospecting, financial advisors. I know lots of brokers out there have great relationships with home builders or insurance companies, relocation, bank branch turndowns. Online advertising is always a hot topic these days, and with the rate sites and things like that. Strategic email marketing, and we'll get into some of that today. Employee association plans, divorce attorneys. So there's a lot of avenues in which you can drum up new business to increase your number of customers. From my experience in dealing with our broker owners throughout Western Canada, it seems that people are kind of getting torn in which way to go, and you know, they need to kind of spread things out a little bit as we're going to discuss today. You know, when it comes to looking at taking on one of these new avenues, so whether you want to introduce a realtor program or maybe something for bank branch turndowns, whatever it may be, the key here when you're deciding on a new avenue to increase your customer base is really to get strategic about what you're going to undertake. You know, when you get strategic, you're going to put more work into this and you're going to add more value. And that value is going to come with more revenue, more referrals, and more profit if you're maximizing, you know, one avenue of increasing rather than, you know, kind of spreading yourself thin between, you know, trying to do realtors, trying to do financial advisors, whatever it may be. You know, another key when you're looking at implementing one of these programs is not to allow yourself to get overwhelmed, because it can be very overwhelming if you're trying to kind of, as I mentioned, spread yourself too thin and take yourself into too many different avenues. So my suggestion to you is if you are looking at increasing your customer base and you want to focus on a certain avenue of where you're going to increase that, you know, whether that be realtors, financial advisors, bank branch, whatever it may be, pick a certain number of these projects. So if it's, you know, 1 or 2 projects per quarter, I would probably suggest just doing one. That way, when you start to work and implement this program, it's going to allow you to get to the point where you can actually gain some traction rather than, you know, as I mentioned, kind of spreading yourself thin, trying to do too much at once. So if you're going to, for example, try to create a program for realtors, financial advisors, or employee programs, maybe that's the ones you think that you want to implement this year, it's going to lead, if you try to take on all those at once, to 3 separate ideas. And it's going to be hard to maximize all 3 and really get that traction that you need to maximize the effort you're going to be putting into these focuses. So my suggestion to you is if you are looking at increasing your customer base, you want to take on a new avenue, is take on 1 per quarter. You know, whether that be, you know, decide the 4 you maybe want to do for this year, take on 1 per quarter, you know, whether it be a realtor program or whatever it may be, and put your focus on that. You know, that way you have 90 days to fully focus on that one idea, roll it out, gain some traction, and then of course with that traction you're going to be of course getting some additional revenue, which is fantastic. Then the next quarter, once that's kind of been implemented and it's a little bit more on autopilot, then you can start to implement your next idea or your next strategy. Now, when you are looking to, you know, take on a new avenue to increase your customer base, there has to be a way to measure it to see if you're getting the results that you want. You know, if you're doing a realtor program and, you know, you're not really tracking what's happening and you think it may be working, when in all essence it might not actually be getting you the results that it deserves for the amount of effort you're putting in. So whenever you do start a new program, you know, the critical numbers that you should track and know to kind of measure the success of what you're doing is your leads to application ratio. And that's absolutely crucial, in my opinion, is to know, you know, when these leads come in, how many of these leads you're getting are actually leading to applications. It's a crucial number to know, and I can't stress that to you guys enough. And the next critical number to know when it comes to, you know, you're focusing on different avenues to increase your customer base is application to funded deals, because obviously funded deals are where you guys are getting paid and where you're raising your volume and where you want this to ultimately go. So whenever you do start a new program or you are mapping out a program, some of the things we mentioned today, definitely I can't stress enough to keep these numbers in mind, and that's your lead to application and your application to funded deals ratio. So the next focus I want to discuss with you guys today is increasing your revenue per customer. Now, you know, from my experience in dealing with our brokers, you know, within Western Canada, I don't feel like enough people are putting the proper focus that this deserves, and I feel that's kind of industry-wide. You know, making some minor, easily implemented changes in this area will definitely raise your bottom line profit. So I would definitely suggest that you put some thought and time into this area. So the goal here, obviously, is to maximize your profit. You want to maximize the dollars you earn on every transaction you have with a mortgage client. You spend all this time, and effort and thought putting into, new ideas and ways you can get these clients to come to you. Now, obviously, you want to make sure that you're maximizing your profit when they do come to you and you do get that transaction. Now, I know everybody's probably heard this a million times and heard it before, but the amount of money left on the table by people not promoting and selling mortgage life insurance is absolutely staggering. I think by far, this is the easiest way to maximize your profit and the number one focus people should be putting on if they're not currently doing it. If you're not doing this, I would suggest that to increase your revenue per customer, that should be your first outlet, is to look at mortgage life insurance and the options that do lie with you there. We have a fantastic relationship at VERICO with Brinco and IQ Insurance. They have some fantastic programs, and I know a lot of people don't necessarily like to sell insurance. They say, I'm not an insurance broker, things like that. Well, they have referral programs where you can get paid just for referring the client over. If that client talks to one of the reps, you can get paid a referral fee on that deal. So even if you're not comfortable with the insurance avenue or selling the mortgage life insurance, they do have a referral program. So that's something that you can easily implement, and in turn is going to increase your revenue per client. Now, another avenue and thing that gets overlooked from time to time is to examine your current lender relationships. Now, of course, your first focus should always be on what's best for your client. So getting the best available mortgage for that client and their specific needs. But it's definitely worth taking a look at all the various different compensation models out there to see if there is room for you to maybe, make some extra profit by placing with a certain lender. Now, as I said, your first focus should always be the client, but there's so many options now, with monoline lenders, banks, etc., in terms of product and different compensation models, that it's worth taking a look at what's out there, examining what you're doing, and see if there is some wiggle room there when it comes to finder's fees, etc. So as you can see, I've mentioned Brinco and IQ. I've also mentioned Lifecycle here on the side of the screen. So I will give you some more information on Brinco, IQ, and also Lifecycle as we do move along through the webinar here. But just to kind of sum up as we were talking here, hands down, I would suggest if you're not focusing on insurance sales, you haven't looked at it before, it's the easiest way to start maximizing and increasing your profit per client. Whether you're doing those sales yourself or doing part of the referral programs that are available through companies like Brinco and IQ. Now, the first step when you're looking at kind of examining where you're at and kind of the critical numbers to know so you can kind of move that bar and move them up is dollars per transaction. So what's your average dollar amount you're taking home per transaction right now? And that's all in. So whether that includes mortgage life insurance, finder's fees, volume bonus, whatever it may be, what is that? What is available or what's happening on average per transaction? Then the second number is to kind of play around with some different numbers. So if you were adding that insurance sales, if you were maybe placing it with a lender who had a comparable product but a more attractive compensation plan, how much revenue leakage is there? So how much money is actually being left on the table by not kind of strategically placing with your lender partners and insurance partners as you place that deal for the client that you've worked so hard to get. So the third thing I wanted to discuss with you guys today is to increase the number of transactions per customer. And there's, the more people you talk to, kind of the more ideas can be spread and communicated to you. There's a ton of different avenues, to increase your number of transactions per customer. And this would include, any referrals from existing clients or repeat business from past clients throughout the year. So the goal here to increase the number of transactions per client is to implement touch points. And those touch points can be a number of different things, as we have some listed here, whether it be strategic email communication. We have a fantastic automated email program that's available to everybody for free here at VERICO through our broker-based platform called BAM. I'll go into a little bit more of that later, but as a minimum, as a starting point, if you haven't explored the BAMP program, I would say that that's something you should take a look at right away. And myself or Martin Marshall on the East Coast would be happy to discuss that program with you. But I will give you some more details as we move along here. There's referrals to other products, so that kind of helps strengthen your relationship with that client, whether it be Brinco IQ insurance sales, whether it be unsecured loans, which we have available here at VERICO, leasing products. Those all help to strengthen that client relationship, as well as quarterly or annual reviews. We do have an annual review email that goes out under the BAMP program, which is a fantastic trigger point for you to be picking up the phone, talking to that client, discussing their mortgage, seeing if it's still the best fit for them, and helping to keep you, of course, front of mind as well. And that's what touch points essentially are going to do. They're going to help keep you front of mind, which is going to increase the number of referrals you get from your clients, and also increase the amount of repeat business you're getting from your clients. There's countless other programs that brokers are using out there, whether it's thank you cards, closing gifts, etc. But as I mentioned earlier when we were discussing new programs to implement to get new clients, when it comes to touch points, I would suggest the same thing I mentioned then, and that's to add one at a time. You want to maximize the potential of each. You want to make sure that you're getting the traction off that you want. So maybe you're already doing email campaigns. Maybe you start to implement handwritten thank you cards, or maybe you start to implement a closing gift or a phone call at annual review, whatever it may be for your specific business. I would suggest just implementing one thing at a time, making it part of your habit, for every transaction, and then going from there. So, definitely if you haven't taken a look at the referrals to other products, as we mentioned, I did mention Brinco IQ. These are going to help to increase your number of transactions. So, the unsecured loan's great as well. There's a lot of other products here that are going to help solidify your clients' loyalty and keep them coming back for more and more business. Now, when you're looking to increase the number of transactions, I think one thing that often gets overlooked, when discussing with people is, who are your top customers? Are you conscious of who your top 20 customers are? The ones that are sending you the most repeat business, the most referrals. I feel like this gets often or overlooked very often in our industry. You want to know who you're getting the most business out of in your database. That's a crucial number to know, so you can nurture those relationships and continue to get more and more out of those top clients of yours. So I did mention Lifecycle earlier. Lifecycle is our white label product here available to VERICO brokers. So we have dedicated underwriting teams, both East Coast and West Coast. Turnaround time for underwriting, 24 hours. Document review is 24 to 48 hours. There's no minimums required, which is fantastic, as it is a VERICO specific product. We're not asking for any minimums. You can go ahead and start to use Lifecycle and receive the full benefits and service right away. So there's no holdbacks there. So your clients' annual statements, they're branded under Lifecycle branding. They have your name on them, which is fantastic. And as important as it is and what we're discussing here, of course, compensation. So the great thing about the Lifecycle program is they pay fantastic compensation, but then there's also a renewal fee. We know that banks are very good at renewing those clients. Somewhere in the 80-85% range is what we hear. So, definitely worth taking a look at a lender like Lifecycle who does pay on renewal. On a 5-year term, you're going to get 50 basis points on renewal, which is absolutely fantastic. I know some brokers are great at recapturing those renewals, but if it's not something that you're diligent at and diligently working towards, it's very great to think strategically about placing your clients with a lender like Lifecycle, where you can start to reap the benefits of a renewal fee on renewal when those clients do renew. Now, I also mentioned Brinco and IQ, and when it comes to insurance, and we were talking about kind of maximizing profit per deal, the typical uptake on creditor life insurance on mortgages is about 10% across Canada, which is extremely low. That's why Brinco has and IQ have come up with a different solution where they kind of take the pain of the insurance conversation away, and they do it for the broker, and then pay the client or pay the broker a referral fee. So they pay as long as the client accepts the phone call and some information and prices, and it takes about 5 minutes, and they call it an insurance consultation. So they have multiple insurers that they can go to with this. If a client wishes to purchase insurance, the entire application is done over the phone with one of their representatives guiding the client. They also, fantastic thing about Brinco IQ is they have home insurance. So they can get fire insurance in place for your client, courier the policy over to the lawyer in time for closing. Now I see a question here in chat box, which is actually the next thing I was going to mention. What is the average referral fee? So the average referral fee is $175 to $200 per client based on combined life and home insurance referral. So, you know, as I said, if you're not comfortable doing the insurance sales, that's not a conversation you want to have. You can still be part of this referral program, and on average, brokers are getting about $175 to $200 per client. So it's a very simple process. You just introduce the referral during your close. You have the client sign a consent form. You email that into Brinco. They contact the client, and you get paid monthly for your referral. So it's a great income stream. If you haven't taken a look at that, I would definitely encourage you to do so. I also did mention when we were talking about various touch points, we do have a fantastic program available through our broker-based system called BAMP. And as I mentioned, if you're not using any touch points, you don't have any kind of follow-up systems in place, take a look at BrokerBase and the BAMP program. Everything comes out from your personal email. It'll have your company's logo, colors, your photo, etc. It's all sent out automatically. Everything is a la carte on the program. So, you know, we have a fantastic, what we call mortgage plan, which gives a detailed information about their mortgage, shows them some ways they can pay off their mortgage faster. We have, you know, renewal letters from 9 months down to 1 month. We have a thank you email that goes out after closing, you know, birthdays, quarterly newsletters, and you can pick and choose which ones work for your business and which ones don't. So it's a very a la carte system. But as a minimum, if you don't have any touch points, you're not using any kind of communication plans, take a look at BAMP, and I think you'll be impressed. And you know, it's absolutely free to VERICO members, and you can't get much easier of a system to implement. You can really have it up and running within 10 or 15 minutes. So definitely would encourage you to take a look there if you haven't explored it up to this point. So as I mentioned, there also is a takeaway worksheet on the 3 kind of different focuses we discussed today. You know, the first being increasing your number of customers. So are you going to implement a new program, and what are those programs going to be? You know, pick one at a time. You know, if you're going to do a realtor program, great. If you're looking at a group benefits program to you know, launch company-wide, that's fantastic. Pick one per quarter, give it your full focus and attention for 90 days. Make sure it's implemented, you're getting success with it. Know those numbers that we did talk about. You know, you want to know your leads to application as well as your application to funded deals to measure the results you're getting from your work and focus. You know, it also has room for increasing your revenue per customer. So maybe you're going to look at the insurance sales, the referral program, whatever it may be. You know, pick one per quarter and start to implement those and to work them. And then, of course, increasing your number of introductions. So that's getting the most out of your client relationships and bringing them back for repeat business, referral business, and other avenues, whether it's the unsecured lines of credit, whatever it may be. So you can download that by clicking on the right-hand side of your screen. You should see a sheet that says Business Value Optimization Sheet. You can download that and get started right away. So as I said, I wanted to keep today short, focused, and to the point, and I think we've achieved that. The next webinar will be next Tuesday, and it's going to be the 3 phases of your customer, and we're hosting that at the same time. So it's going to be Tuesday, March 8th, 10:30 Pacific, 1:30 Eastern. Now, as I mentioned with our Palm Springs retreat, we have shut down the $99 registration to the public, but for everybody on this call until 2 p.m. Pacific today, 5 p.m. Eastern, you can use the promo code, the VERICO Advantage, and with that, you will receive $99 registration. So I would encourage you, if you haven't, take advantage of that because the price will rise as of 2 p.m. or 5 Eastern. So with that, I'm going to end the call for today. I see there is some questions here which I will get to on a one-off basis. So thank you everyone for joining us today. And with that, I hope to see you next week, Tuesday, March 8th at 10:30 Pacific, 1:30 Eastern. Thank you.